What's up, everybody? Welcome to Dirt to Whiskey. As always, I am Billy, joined by my man, my best friend, my road dog, Long Beach Mike, and straight from the Northern Sierra is Tyler, who likes to be called Geertsma. What's up, you guys? How is everybody?
I'm
doing good, man.
fantastic.
How you doing?
Better now that we got that out of the way.
Sweet.
Right.
Mike, what are you drinking?
What am I drinking? I went back to the Templeton Rye tonight, so
The good
always
stuff.
always a solid choice. 6-year rye whiskey. For me, it's a little spicy, so I put a ice cube in it. Kind of let it mellow out a little bit, open up. You know, it's sweet. It's got a little bit of the ethanol burn, a little bit of apple in it. Not too bad. What are you drinking, Billy?
I am drinking 1867. It is a blended Canadian whiskey. I actually went with it because I'm 15 minutes from the Canadian border. I figured I got to start trying some of their whiskeys as well. It's honestly pretty damn good.
Blended Canadians are pretty good usually.
Yeah.
Are you drinking it in your fancy glasses?
I am fancy glass. I did do the big square ice tonight. I didn't do the round ice. And yeah, it's 80 proof. Says it's fine Canadian. And you know what? It's funny. It says exceptional smoothness, and it really is. It's actually one of the more drinkable whiskeys I've had just straight up. It's delicious. I'll probably have it with pancakes in the morning before work.
Oh, there you go.
And what about you, Tyler? What are you drinking?
So I'm gonna throw a wrench in the gears here. I'm actually drinking beer. I am drinking
Why are you drinking beer?
So I'm drinking beer because I work at a brewery, and I'm currently at said brewery mooching the Wi-Fi because living in the mountains does not lend itself to reliable Wi-Fi. So I had to come here, which is totally fine because I have unlimited beer on tap.
Totally fine.
So this is Range of Light IPA. The brewery is called the Good Wolf Brewing in Truckee, California. And this is kind of our ode to the Sierra Nevada, being that it's brewed with California juniper berries that were foraged from the Sierra originally, and then the beer got too big, so now we had to source them from just a local source. But John Muir called the Sierra Nevada the Range of Light. So this is Range of Light IPA.
It's actually pretty cool.
What alcohol content is that?
6.4, I want to say.
Okay.
Something around there. It's not too heavy. It's not too light. I love it. It's minty for sure. The juniper definitely comes through, and you can tell it's kind of made from the woods.
Okay.
For the woods, if you will.
I think the best thing to do is I'll just DM you my address and you just ship me a box.
Oh, buddy, I got you.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, man.
That's what I do now. I just ask everybody for alcohol. It works out pretty good. Mike
Oh,
got me
dude.
some sweet glasses, some ice.
Hell yeah.
We got whiskey stones. I'm getting set up.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah, no, the craft beer world is great in that literally if you work at a brewery and you go to other breweries, which you will, just bring a 4-pack of your cans and they'll return the favor. And like the craft beer industry is all about sharing effectively.
So
yeah,
how many different kind of beers do you guys make there?
So
the IPA.
Yeah, so right now it kind of varies. We definitely don't keep the same ones on for very long. We're always kind of rotating. When one kicks, we usually have one to replace it. But since IPAs are the ones that sell, I mean, that's just the way it goes. Like IPAs are what the people want. We have, I think, 4 different IPAs on right now. And then, yeah, and then 2 different dark beers, a Pilsner, a sour. Lord. I'm trying to remember what else. Yeah, and it's just always kind of rotating. And, you know, beer trends change pretty frequently. So you do kind of have to keep up with the times while also saying, screw that. You know, it's a fine line to walk.
Gotcha. So
that's where IPA is so good because they do such good branding with everything, and then
Mhm.
you feel like when you see one, even with the label, you're like, oh, I got to try that.
Yep.
So let me ask you, Tyler.
Yes.
I like whiskey. I like bourbons. I'm kind of into that. So, I know like the history, the background, the makeup, stuff like that. But I also like beer. But I'm not that deep into it to where, if I told you, oh, IPA, I like Space Dust. And then it's like, you're just like, wah, wah. Like,
I mean, the craft beer industry is very weird because you will get the folks that effectively shame you for liking Space Dust
Yeah, beer
or
snobs.
one of the Yes, exactly. There's a difference between beer enthusiasts and beer snobs. And beer snobs are the ones that will make you feel like a giant piece of human garbage for enjoying a Rainier or a PBR or whatever. I could not care less. It's like I love good beer, but I also love cheap beer. Like Coors Banquet is kind of the jam. It just depends on what you do. For you, I mean, being super big into whiskeys, I would really start trying the barrel aged stuff.
Oh, I do stouts and porters and stuff like that. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
But the thing for me is when it's hot outside in the summer, I can't touch
I get
stouts
that.
stouts or porters. Like I like something
Yeah.
light, fresh, crisp. So the IPAs, Pilsner, stuff like that.
Yeah,
But when it's cold outside, oh man, I got a giant thing of like stout or porter.
Oh, yeah.
or something.
oh, 100%. I agree. We have a barrel aged barley wine on right now that's
Ooh,
I think 15.8%.
yeah.
And
Yeah,
it was
those are
brewed
tough.
with a bunch of figs, so it's super sweet. And
Interesting.
yeah, it's awesome.
Might have to
Wow.
make a road trip.
Yeah, for sure.
I got you guys on beers if you show up for sure.
So we'll have in the show notes. I guess we should probably also put the brewery in
Yeah,
there
for sure.
too, so everybody on Instagram can check that out. I know I want to.
Sure, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, no, definitely. Is it something that you guys have a distribution network that we could find it? Like, I don't know if I do Total Wine, I do High Times Liquor. Where in
So-
Southern California can I find?
Unfortunately, in SoCal, nowhere. Right now, we're pretty small. So the greater Tahoe area, you can find us on draft. So we distro kegs pretty much from Truckee down to South Lake, over to Auburn. So that's kind of our triangle where we distribute kegs. So it's going to be on tap. But we actually, right now, we still can everything by hand. So we don't have, we're still dialing in our canning line to up that capability. But right now, it's legitimately just canning by hand. So cans are super, super hard to find. There are a few stores here in Truckee that will carry them. But for the most part, you can't find them anywhere.
So when my buddy goes up to run the Rubicon the 1st of June, I should send him with my Dometic growler and have him fill something up for me. All right.
So it's funny you mentioned that. I live about a mile from the Rubicon trailhead on the lake side. So if he needs anything, just, let me know.
Bad place. It's not a bad place to live. That's nice.
No,
on the
it's
lakeside.
not. It's actually it's heaven on earth. And the only reason that I'm able to do that is because my girlfriend works for California State Parks. That's actually how we met. I was in a seasonal maintenance position with Parks, and she's the educational ranger at Donner Memorial State Park. So we met and we started dating, and now we live in Sugar Pine Point State Park. So we're in like the best spot in the world.
That's how you do it right there, Mike. Pick up part-time job, a full-time girlfriend, and then you got a kick-ass place to live.
You're the one that talked me into the job that I have now.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, you did. So Park service. Billy, you could go be a park ranger. I could see you in a nice tight green outfit and a little hat.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
I'd look like Yogi Bear running around there. Hey, boo boo. Now see that picnic basket over there?
I don't
Yeah.
think the ranger's gonna like that, Yogi.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, no, they won't.
So Tyler, what do you drive? What do you
So
wheel?
I drive a 1985 Toyota pickup, obviously 4-wheel drive, and it's my daily driver right now since my motorcycle has chosen not to run. And it's small lift 31s with a big camper on the back that I have kind of built out and turned into a kind of a second home of mine, if you will. And
No
it's
bear
an 85.
locker. No bear
What?
locker in there for the food.
Nope.
How many times has a bear broken into your camper?
Twice now. And it was because of an empty growler, like a beer growler that had rolled to the back of the camper and I couldn't see it. And I'm like, why is this bear breaking into my camper? There's nothing in it, but there was one empty growler all the way at the back. And
He had the shakes.
Yeah, Bear had good taste.
Yep. Oh yeah, I did. Oh yeah. So
how long have you had the Toyota for?
about 5 years now.
Wow, that's a good stretch.
Yeah, it's my child.
I think Billy's had 5 different wheelers in 5 years. So
Yeah. Yeah, Tyler was there for both the old ones. When I met Tyler, I had El Padre.
Oh yeah. Oh, that thing was
who shall not be named. El Padre.
Yeah.
That thing was full of nonsense, so I hear.
Oh man.
Yeah.
What a nightmare.
Every story you've heard about that Suburban is true, and you've only heard half of the story.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Because only ran half the time.
Yep.
Exactly. So that's like 25%.
But man, when it was parked, it looked bitchin'.
Oh, dude, for sure.
Rigs and coffee, dude, you had everyone's attention.
Killed it there.
Yeah, man, you looked real good next to all those 5th gen 4Runners.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't want to start the shit talking quite yet.
No, I think you got another couple pints to go in before we go into the shit talking.
Into the little ladders on the 5th gen 4Runners.
The little ladders that can't support any weight to get to the high lift that has no attachment points you can use anywhere on the truck. But we'll wait till we all have a few more drinks.
Yeah, no, we need to work up to that. But yeah, so I've had the Yoda for about 5 years now, but I always seem to end up with some sort of a side project. So as if the Toyota isn't a project enough. So right now, I currently have an 87 Nissan Pathfinder that it's a 2-door Pathfinder.
Oh, I saw that picture on Instagram.
Yeah.
I love that Pathfinder.
Oh, dude, 2-door Pathfinder with the little triangle windows that pop out.
Wasn't that 2 years only that they made that? Or 2 years it got imported here because they put a tax on it, right?
I'd have to look more into that, but I think it was only a couple of years. Yeah, 2 or 3 years where they only made 2 doors. You may have been able to get 2 doors like as an option of sorts past that, but I'm pretty sure it was only 87 and 88, maybe 89 that they exclusively did the 2 doors.
Yeah.
And what year's your motorcycle?
Right.
So the motorcycle's a 78 Honda XL 125, and I thought my Toyota was temperamental. No.
I was going to say he doesn't like anything easy.
No. Like
I don't
fuel
even know,
injection. Screw
what
that.
an XR 125 is. That's just Arabic to me.
So fair enough. So basically, the
dirt bike?
XR, yeah, it's a dirt bike. So the XR was the quote performance bike, and the XL was the street legal variant.
And what year is it?
78.
So is it one of those ones that's like that we would see on chips as a kid that they would be riding through the drainage canal and it has like 3 inches of travel on like 2 chrome coil shocks in the back?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nothing easy for you.
It's got the one round headlight and in the front, and yeah, I mean, it looks very 1978, but
That's
it doesn't
cool.
run. Yeah, I bought it running, and it ran great, and then it got snowed on once.
Two-stroke?
4-stroke.
4-stroke, okay.
Yep, it is a 4-stroke, thank
So
God. I've
street legal.
owned a 2-stroke before, and God, they're a pain.
Street
I
legal?
mean, they're fast, but
You can ride that thing on the street? Street
Mhm.
legal?
Mhm.
Okay.
yeah, it's plated. There's
When
a
it
whole
runs.
story behind that. CHP here in Truckee is very aware of that bike.
You have the only one in the county?
I'm the only one in the county, and I'm the only one stupid enough to ride it with expired tags.
Nice.
Right.
'Cause I-
Yeah, like down here, they wouldn't pay any attention to you, but up there, you're on everyone's radar.
So basically, I was an idiot. We rewired the bike to get the lights working and got all the lights working. Like it was bitching. The lights are bright. It's great. So I was like, I'm going to ride it to work because being a bartender, I commute home at night. So, excuse me. So I rode it to work, and on my way home at the one stoplight on my entire commute of 26 miles, CHP pulled up behind me, and halfway through the intersection, done. So I was like, I'm gonna be honest, it's my project. It's not registered. Like I just got the lights working, the whole thing. He could have thrown the book at me, impounded the bike, the whole thing, but he ended up being super cool. And he was like, if you can get this bike off the side of the road, like now, I'm not gonna tow it. So called a buddy, he came and got me, and good to go.
Wow.
Yeah, but then that scared me away from riding it, and then it got snowed on, and now it won't start. So I have to look into it, but right now it's still snowing, so I'm not going to.
It's still snowing, and it's like May.
Oh yeah. No, it's a cold storm too. It's I think the high today was low 30s, maybe. Like everything is still iced over.
So you're sleeping in your camper outside the brewery tonight?
I might be. Yeah.
Not a bad
Nice.
plan, though. I mean,
No.
honestly.
No, not at all. And worst case, I mean, the brewery has couches and a heater. So
There you go. How cold
I'm
is
in.
it going to be overnight?
let me see. I think it definitely in the 20s. I don't know. Let me see.
Yeah.
20. It's a low of
20.
20.
Yeah,
That's
that's already
cold.
like 30 degrees below Mike's threshold.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
If I can't wear like shorts and like leave half my sleeping bag open, I'm not going.
You know, fair. I remember those days. I'm from SoCal, so yeah.
Yeah, I went up to Big Bear, and for the Olaf thing, that was I think like the end of October, something like that.
Yeah.
And it got down in the low 20s at night, and I woke up with like the Dumb and Dumber snot sickles from my nose, like shivering for like. I was okay, except like where I had my face exposed to air, like my face was freezing cold. And if I moved around in my sleeping bag, where I was not directly on top of was also cold. So, you know, it was cold.
Yep.
Because I wasn't there with you. I would have just parked my ass right on your face and warmed you up.
You know, that's a good
Wow.
plan of
Yeah.
attack.
It's been a good friend.
Yeah,
I'd rather
you're just
freeze.
helping out,
Thank
man.
you, though. Thanks.
Yeah.
I'd rather freeze.
In January, so obviously I'm from SoCal as well.
Mhm.
And then my kids only lived in SoCal. And then we moved up here at the end of August. And then by December, it was 2 degrees. So as you can imagine, for 10 years, these kids were dealing with 80-degree SoCal weather year round. And then
Going to get the Christmas tree and sandals.
Yeah. And
Yep.
then 2 months after moving here, it's 2 degrees outside. But they've jammed with it. They love it. They wouldn't have
Sweet.
it any other way.
They don't have a choice.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I gave them a choice. That was their
Mhm.
words.
Right.
But yeah, I mean,
Right.
it is nice to have all the seasons, you know?
Yeah, instead of hot and less hot.
Yeah.
It
not
makes
so
you
hot.
it makes you appreciate all of the seasons that much more, just because
You're-
there's variation.
You're up there in like God's country, Tyler, where everything's like clean and green, and
It's pretty unreal. I mean, admittedly, it has kind of gotten overrun a bit. The entire city of San Francisco has decided to move in.
That's
and
what
it's
I've
awful.
heard.
Yeah, so Truckee Tahoe has become kind of a disaster just with, I mean, the housing crisis, because all of San Francisco owns a second home here. So there are neighborhoods of what they call ghost mansions. And there are these gigantic mountain homes that are empty sans a week out of the year.
Wow.
And so the locals can't find anywhere to live. And I'm unbelievably blessed in that, you know, I'm still kind of in the state park system. So I'm still living in a state park. That's the only way that I could survive here.
That's
the
crazy.
only way. Yeah.
That's crazy. It's like I've floated with the idea of getting like a cabin or something in Big Bear or Arrowhead or something like that over the last few years. And to me, it's like if you want an escape for a weekend, it's you don't want I personally, everybody does them. I don't want to do anything fancy, right? So it's like A-frame, loft, wood siding, wood burning stove, like that's it. I don't need some like second house because it takes the entire experience away, I think.
Right. I agree. And I mean, for me, when I go and visit somewhere, at least at this point in my life, I mean, I'm only 26 years old. So I'm still like, regardless of weather, I'm just going to go sleep in my camper and do that.
That'll change. That'll change.
Oh, I know. I'm embracing it right now, though.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
but was it right before you moved up there, or right when you moved up there? You took a pretty big trip, right? With the Toyota?
Yes.
So was it?
That was kind of the motivator for me moving. It ended up being a pretty big step towards me getting out. So, I mean, I won't go into too many details, but you'll get the point. I was in SoCal, not for me. I hated it there. I wanted out. But because of the situation I was in, I was stuck there. And I legitimately, I mean, me being in SoCal was like the lowest point of my life mentally. Like I was going insane being there.
I can sympathize with you, so can Billy.
Yep, for sure. I was losing my mind. Big Bear just wasn't cutting it. Like, oh yeah, let's go run trails up in Big Bear. Oh, you mean the same 2 trails that you've ran your entire life? Like, no.
Trail traffic all day.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and then you have to come back to Highland. Like, no.
Right.
No. And I knew I belonged up here in the Sierra. Like, that's just the way it goes. I belonged in the mountains. So knowing that, but being kept there effectively, it was awful. So I went on that trip. Hang on, let me back up. So I was on a trip to Nevada. I was staying in a little town called Pioche, Nevada. It's a little ghost town. And it was there that I found out that my start date for my new full-time job got pushed back a full 30 days. And I at first I'm panicking. I'm like, I'm unemployed for the next like 30 some odd days. But then I kind of just had to immediately flip that around and be like, okay, well, where am I going to go? Like, this is huge. When else am I going to have over a month off with a full-time job for sure lined up on the other side? Like, when else is this going to happen? So I decided, because of COVID, borders were closed, I was going to drive from Mexico to Canada and back. Just living in the truck for a month and kind of roaming. So that's how that all began. And then, that trip was life-changing. I mean, legitimately, that was where I sat on the bank of a river in the Southern Cascades and typed out on my phone just a note of pros and cons of the situation I was in. Like, okay, what am I actually going to do? Because I'm not happy in SoCal. I can't afford SoCal. I'm still living with my mom. Like, I had to move back in with my mom to be there. And I'm just freaking miserable.
So the trip was like a perfect storm then for you to
Mhm.
realize, kind of like, pull the veil off and kind of see things for a bigger picture.
Right, exactly. I mean, I just went out and because it was just me, for the most part, there was a small portion of the trip where the girl I was in a relationship with came and joined me. But yeah, in case you haven't gathered, the relationship was the thing keeping me in SoCal.
Right.
But for the most part,
as they do.
oh yeah, for sure. But for the most part, it was just me. And I went up and I was honest with myself. And ironically enough, I was sitting on the bank of the Klickitat River with a space dust in my hand.
Best decisions are made over space dust.
Right.
Oh, for sure.
Always
and yeah,
good
I
decisions.
wrote a pros and cons list out on my phone and said, I have to go. Like, I have to. I can't stay in SoCal forever. I just can't.
Yeah. Yeah. Right before we moved up here, I did that the kids and I did 3 weeks all the way up the coast and through the Olympic Peninsula and then into Rainier and went back home and shit happened. And within a month we were living up here. When you did that trip, what was the furthest north you hit then? Did you get to the border?
The furthest north I actually hit was Port Angeles.
Okay.
We're just up there.
It's kind of a cop out in a way, because I didn't go to the border.
Yeah, listen, you're not going much further without getting wet. So,
well, exactly. I mean, I was for the record, there's a brewery called Bar Hop Brewing across the street from the water, looking at Victoria. So
right.
You can see Canada.
What's
our
that?
trip?
Yeah, you can see Canada.
Yes.
So there you go.
Yep.
Yeah, our trip. We stayed in Port Angeles one night on our trip when we were coming around the peninsula.
Nice.
We ended there.
Yeah. And man, it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's also sketchy.
Port Angeles itself is pretty freaking sketchy.
Yeah.
But I mean, go like 5 miles in either direction, and it's gorgeous.
I mean, even the rainforest isn't even that far from there. What is it? An hour from there?
Yeah. No, I camped just outside of the Hoh rainforest.
Okay. Yeah, I love a forest full of hoes.
Yeah, man. Shit happens. Wait, am I allowed to swear?
You can swear if you want. Absolutely.
All right. I just didn't know.
Yourself. Yeah. No. So how many pints in are you now?
This is my second.
Oh, starting your second. I'm halfway done with my second.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah. Starting my second, I have a few lined up. I won't lie to you. I have
there
beer.
You go. So are you drinking the same fill as the first?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So just kind of
we're gonna do a flight of pints. No flight
of
pints.
I love this beer, legitimately. So it's my go-to kind of regardless of what we have on tap. So
I'll have to send the growler up.
Oh yeah.
One of the reasons why I really wanted to get you on here was from the time that we met in a parking lot in the middle of Orange County.
Sounds shady.
You kind of were already doing your own thing. And much like what I was doing with my kids, 90% of your adventures were just you. Or so for me, it was me and my kids, or I would take one. And if I did like a group thing, because I was meeting other people or hanging out with people, I'd always go pretty much by myself.
Yeah.
But 90% of the time, it was just us, one Jeep, and we would do a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I think one during COVID, I think we came up with like 20,000 miles worth of trips that year.
Good for you.
But that's where I really started following you, is like you were just, I don't know. There's just something about like overlanding to me was the adventure. And to me, it's not adventuring if you got 18 of all your buddies with every piece of GPS and a tour guide and a trail leader, and you're going to
Square.
Well, and you're only going to the places that are going to hold that many people, and it's like
Mhm.
I love
And let's
setting
be
up
honest, a lot of those places are right off the road.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
hey guys, you want to get 25 third gen Tacomas together and go run the fire roads up in Big Bear and take pictures and call it overlanding? Yeah, bro, that sounds great.
Yeah, and then turn on all 85 of your lights at dusk.
Yeah, that's the
No,
other thing.
midday. Run that shit midday, bud.
You gotta
Yeah.
have the light. You gotta have the KC light bar on at noon,
Yep.
just so everyone knows you have the light bar.
But you had to get the KC light bar for free. That's the kicker.
Or at least off a discount code.
Yeah, no. If you paid full price for that, get out.
You're trash.
Lots of wood. Hey, that's a lot of wood blocks you got to sell to get a KC light bar. So
Yeah.
No, it's true. I mean, admittedly, I'm guilty of that too, just not with KC. I mean, I have gotten quite a bit of stuff for free, but it takes one to know one. So I'm here.
Well, yeah, but you're not.
myself, too.
I mean, you're not. You don't strike me as the type that just like, oh, it's free, so I'm going to run it. You're just not going to run something that someone hands you.
I find the biggest difference is that you were already going out there anyways. And if somebody liked what you were doing and they wanted to put your product on their car, that's a lot different. Or support you in
that's
some
exactly
sort of way.
Yeah, that's exactly what's happened. So I grew up. I mean, I was going to Idlewild and Big Bear pretty much from the time I was born in a Geo Metro. That's kind of how my family camped out of a Geo, and then we upgraded to a Plymouth Neon. And then that got wrecked, and then we bought a Dodge Neon. For some reason, my dad loved Neons. And we'd go up to Idlewild and Big Bear and camp out of literal cardboard boxes and a Dodge Neon. And like, that's where my just kind of profound love for the woods came from.
Right.
So
also the I don't need every fancy bit of kit to go out and enjoy the outdoors.
Right. I literally need a stove, one pot, and a sleeping bag and call it real. Like, I'm not too terribly concerned.
There you go.
I always got conflicted with that. I had some things to make my life easier, but again, I try not to use this too much as an excuse, but I was always taking care of two little kids with me. I brought my kids with me everywhere. So it was like trying to make camp coffee or do my own grinds and do my own bean and like do all that shit and then make food for two kids who I got to clean up after.
Yeah.
Set up the bathrooms. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
you're right on the cusp of them being self-sufficient, though.
Now it's gravy. I sit back and I drink, and they set up camp. You've seen them.
Beautiful.
Yeah, they're little workers.
Yeah, they can do the air mattresses. They can roll up sleeping bags and put them back into the bag.
Oh, man, I love that.
Oh, it's money. Next time we all go camping, we'll just have them handle everything. Yeah.
I'll pay them $20 to set up everything. There you go.
Oh, you do that. They'd follow you around for years. But yeah, but I was taking them out at 7, 8, 9.
Before that.
Well, before that was mostly rock crawling, day trips.
But we had camping trips when they were.
We did Big Bear like when they were 5.
I'll never forget the first parent. Not that I have kids, but I'll never forget the first parenting tip you ever told me. Is when we were out and you had the two of them together, and they would take off running in two different directions. You would yell "stop," and whichever one of the two stopped, you would run after the one that didn't.
Yeah,
I'll never forget that.
You got to pick your battles, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
They were what, 3 or 4?
Yeah. Yeah, they started young. Dude, Bronson would do 12-hour rock crawling trips in the Jeep with no top in the snow. And he was 4 or 5 years old.
Good for him.
One time we were like Baja in the Mojave. He's probably like 3. And I didn't realize he wasn't buckled in. And when I hit the brakes, he launched into the seat in front of him. He was asleep. So he was bouncing all around. So
that's what happened.
Yeah. And then I hit the brakes and then he wasn't buckled. And she went, and then he woke up on the floor. He's like, what happened?
You didn't buckle your seatbelt, son.
It's like, what's wrong with you?
This is your fault.
Yeah. So they ran through it. But again, I get drawn personally to people. You going with your family built that inside of you. I went with my family. I post pictures every now and then. My family was in the book, The Desert Rat. We did the Mojave, went all through the 70s because I'm old. And Azusa Canyon, before it was like a state park, when it was just a turnout and you would drop in off the side of the road.
Oh,
that was like
man.
82, 83. It was always there with me.
Right.
And I passed that on to my kids. And it just, it bums me out sometimes. The people that are at the forefront of this hobby are really just the people that, they leave their kids at home and, gram it up and get their sponsors and it's like, that's not what the hobby was. That's not what it is. And it's not grabbing 35 of your buddies and all mobbing a trail on a single track, jamming it all up. It was like, listen, I use my Garmin, or mostly everything I ever did was all off my cell phone.
Yeah.
But for safety's sake, I brought a gun, I brought a Garmin, and I brought a cell phone.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's it.
You have to be practical with it, especially, I mean, if you're really doing the thing, if you will. I mean, you legitimately need those things, like going and doing Death Valley, but like Death Valley proper. Like, you need to be smart about it. You can't be dumb because, I mean, you're literally you're one breakdown away from things going south real freaking quick.
That Garmin InReach saved your ass. You got a text message out to me from that thing in the middle of nowhere, and I found a group of guys in Vegas, because that's who was closest to you. They were loading up and coming out to save your ass in the middle of a canyon in the middle of the night.
Let me guess. Is that a suburban story?
No, it's a Jeep story.
It was a JL story.
It's a really good story.
Really?
Yeah, so don't go wheeling with a bunch of Toyotas that don't have the capability of a Jeep. So
that's why I drive a Toyota that has a solid axle.
But the Jeep actually broke, is what the thing is. But the Toyotas just couldn't get to him.
Yeah, it was a mess. But we got it out under my own power.
Yeah, but it goes back to that thing. Like, you have to be prepared. And it's like when I sell a winch to a customer, I literally explain to them. They're like, "Oh, well, this Warren is like $1,500, and the Smitty built winch is $500." It's like, the $1,100 won't pay for the recovery or your funeral. So it's the difference between walking home or being able to pull yourself out.
Yeah.
Same thing with Garmin InReach. Same thing with having a fire extinguisher, a handgun, first aid kit, all that stuff that you need to take. And there's a lot of people. So you doing the Forest Service thing, right? So state parks. How many people do you see that just have zero concept of their surroundings and what they've gotten themselves into? I'm sure you have some really good stories on that.
I mean, almost everybody. Like, working for state parks in a state park that has a full service campground that, I mean, is booked out 6 months in advance. The folks that you get coming in there are legitimately as clueless as you might assume. Like, I didn't really want to believe it, but yeah, I showed up and it's pretty bad. Like, blatant fire restrictions, don't care. Smoke, literally, wildfire smoke from the Caldor fire last year, choking you, still have a campfire going. Like, it's unbelievable how genuinely, I don't want to call them ignorant, because I feel like that's a little harsh, but when
they just don't know what they don't know. Right,
exactly. And the problem is, park visitors just don't read signs. They just don't.
Nobody does.
Like, there's that one quote that everybody knows. I think it was a Yosemite Park ranger that said the overlap between the smartest bear and the dumbest tourist is pretty substantial. Like, it's legitimately true. They don't know how to open the bear-proof cans. They don't know to extinguish their fires before walking away. They don't know any of this.
Yeah.
And the problem is I feel a lot of them don't really care to learn. And that's
what I was going to say.
Yeah.
The problem is everyone's on vacation mode. That's in an RV or the trailer, or they got the family, and they just don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Right.
Nature's a beast. Nature will fuck you up.
Oh, it will kill you with no remorse. It will.
So a guy I worked with, his father, this was a number of years ago, was a seasoned mountain climber.
Mm-hmm.
Did hiking, did all this and that, and he was I can't remember where it was. It was somewhere in the Eastern Sierras, and the weather came in unexpectedly,
Mm-hmm.
and he went missing, and they didn't find him until the spring thaw. So yeah, I mean, and it's like that guy had been backpacking for 30 years and just that quick. And down here in Southern California, we hear about it all the time with the people who's like just disappear into the Mojave, and the only thing they find is a car on the side of the road, and there's no trace of them ever to be found.
Right. And I mean, also, SoCal exclusive would be like Baldy, like, hey, let's go climb Baldy in fucking February. Like,
yeah.
Why would you do that? Yeah, of course you're gonna fall off Devil's Backbone, you dumbass. Like, you have to be smart about it and
respectful.
Exactly. I mean, I don't know. That's where
you're not going to win against nature. You will not win against nature.
Yeah, nobody will never win against nature. And I think that's where my love affair with Death Valley started, because if you were to ask me where my number one place I've ever been is, it's going to be Death Valley. That's just point blank. But that's where the love affair started, was when you're out there in, say, March, and just looking at the rock faces and the cliff faces and everything, and knowing how hot it gets there, and knowing that come 4 or 5 months from now, this place would literally incinerate you. There's something about that. And there's something that I just genuinely appreciate, and I mean, in a weird way, love about that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It goes from a nice 80-degree day and high 40s at night to uninhabitable in the
literally.
Literally uninhabitable.
Yep.
And
I will never take Amelia to Death Valley in August ever, because of course a 1985 Toyota is going to overheat.
Yeah, no,
in Death Valley in August.
I don't care how big of a radiator you have.
Don't give a damn. I have the biggest radiator you could fit in that truck, and it still gets warm on grades. So, yeah. But leading back, just respecting nature.
So do you have a story? I mean, I'm sure you have a story of someone that's, that's just kind of been a head scratcher for you.
I mean, there were many, many, many mornings where I'd go to work, I'd get in my little side-by-side, and I'd go rolling through the campgrounds and the day use area and everything. And the dumpster would have been full, and the trash is piled on top of the dumpster about 4 feet high, when around the other loop of the campground, there's an empty dumpster.
Wow.
But they legitimately just don't care or think about it. Or legitimately, if they don't know how to unlatch the dumpster, they'll just leave their trash on top of it.
I believe that one. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's so bad. And I mean, there was a group of guys that were camping. I think, it was last summer, later in the season, when there was literally smoke just encompassing everything from the Caldor and the Dixie fire. and they had this big old bonfire going in their little fire ring. I mean, they had like stacked things in there and were burning it. And I went up to them just as maintenance and said, hey, like, legitimately, I'm not going to give you a ticket. I can't give you a ticket. But if a ranger were to see this, like, you're going to get nailed to the wall. I would strongly advise you put that out. And they said, oh, okay, sounds good. Yeah, sorry about that.
Is that with a burn? Was that when the burn ban was in effect?
Yeah.
And they weren't supposed to be burning? Yeah. Okay. There you go.
Yep.
I think the burn ban was like 2 years long.
Yeah.
And like,
dude.
You would think people knew by then.
Well, I mean, you look around, everything like on your drive up, everything's covered in smoke, and your campsite's covered in dry pine needles. Like, I mean, for you and I, we take that intelligence for granted, right? Like, you would think, like, oh God, I'm surrounded by kindling, and everything's dry. But all these other people, it's like, oh, my kids want to roast marshmallows, so I'm going to start this giant bonfire.
Yep, and the connection there just does one of these. Like, it doesn't compute. And sure enough, they said, oh, okay, yeah, we'll put it out. No problem. They did not. So then the next person up from me went and talked to them and told them the same thing. They gave them the same response. Still didn't put it out. And past that, I walked away from the situation. I was done. But crazy. I'd imagine a ranger went out there and did, in fact, nail him to the wall.
Good. I mean,
it's unreal.
My pet peeve, and it's like with Billy, because we've been camping together and we've been wheeling together for years. And it's like, not only do you pack out what you bring in, but you also pack out more than you bring in. So if you find trash, you take it with you.
Yep.
You put out your fires, you clean your coals out, you make sure they're buried, you make sure, that everything is clean. And the amount of stuff that I've seen that's just absolute gross negligence, or just people just not caring. It's just like leaving trash, not, oh, the wind took it. It's like, no, you go chase it. You go pick that up. Like,
damn right.
The wind is going to take it, but it's going to take it somewhere. And to me, it's really bothersome to kind of see that attitude and I mean, it's great that, obviously camping, the outdoors, wheeling, all that stuff has had exponential growth in the last couple of years, right? It's good for my business. And in general, you would think it's good for the national park system, but it seems like the national park system is kind of at a breaking threshold where it's at capacity, and the people 60 years ago, it was sure you had the one asshole who didn't pack out his trash. Now you have 10 of the 15 campsites worth of assholes who don't know what they're doing. And, it just seems that it's going to end up in a situation like the Alabama Hills and probably a few other places where, the state parks just go, nope, enough's enough, and we're just going to close this, and you guys are just going to have to do without.
Has that happened yet? Has Alabama Hills gone to the permit thing?
It's gone to, from what I understand, don't quote me on this, but I think half of it is no camping now, like at all. And then
Movie Road, right?
What's that?
West side of Movie Road, they closed everything.
I believe so. Yep. Then I don't know if you need a reservation of any kind. I don't know if it's dispersed still or what, but I do know half of it got completely shut down.
Right.
Yeah, they had to.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought they had to.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know.
Let's be honest. The place, when we went, it was overcrowded, and there were people. There was like cans blowing around from people with just like open trash bags.
Yep.
Yeah,
I mean,
who cares about anything?
Kind of a hot take. I guess I support the restrictions. Like, I'm in full bore support of like, no, this bullshit has to stop because you guys can't handle your shit. And you're coming up from LA and Orange County. And then, I mean, here specifically, we're getting folks from San Francisco and Sacramento that just come up and trash it and don't care.
There's trash on the street by my house. Why can't I just leave my trash in the forest?
Who's going to see it? Oh, my God.
Overpass, overland.
Yeah, dude, it's unreal. So I mean, I legitimately 100% support the restrictions. I mean, like
Yeah.
unwarranted trail closures are one thing. But as far as like, I mean, Alabama Hills is case in
Yeah.
point. It's
Yeah.
you
It's
know,
the
everybody
poster child for why there should be restrictions and permits
right,
and fees.
Well,
right.
Alabama Hills
Everybody
too is a perfect example of places getting burned by geotagging
Uh-huh.
and
Mhm.
like, listen, a lot of people always knew it was there, but the
Yep.
geotagging, the hashtagging it just made it a must for everybody to go there. And then once everyone found out, you don't even have to be in 4-wheel drive and you can take your Prius and then
Take
then
your
they turn
picture
it
at the
into like
big
a
base off the side of the road.
yeah, or
Oh,
like people were turning it into like a little Burning Man out there to get like 40,
yep,
50 of their friends and they were,
yep.
the
It's
fires under the rocks and
oh yeah.
it was a mess. And you
No,
couldn't even dig a hole anymore. You couldn't do anything out there without finding somebody else's
yep.
shit everywhere.
No,
Pretty literally.
it's unreal. And I mean, social media has decimated at least the Sierra Nevada, at least the Eastern Sierra Nevada for
Yeah.
sure. Because I feel like the Eastern Sierra Nevada is one of those rare places that legitimately gives a lot of freedom, if you will. Hell yeah. Good for you, bud. I'm still working on number 2.
Yeah. I've gone through more than I already thought I was. This
Yeah,
would be
no,
number 3.
The name of the game.
hanging out with me is very conducive to drinking alcohol. Anyways, the Eastern Sierra is it lends itself to a lot of free roaming and just pure exploration without a lot of boundaries. So when places like that get just completely blown out, the inevitable happens and the entire world shows up and boom, now we can't have it anymore because people don't know the etiquette. And I think social media started the downfall and then COVID just blew it way out of proportion. Where people who didn't like us, we grew up doing this stuff. We were taught the etiquette, from a very young age. A lot of people didn't have that. And in a lot of cases, I can't even blame them. You don't know what you don't know. Like you said earlier, like
Right.
it is what it is. So I think at this point, it's going to be a lot of just educating. That's what it's going to have to come down to is being able to educate the general public as to, okay, you want to go out in nature. That's great. I support you in every way possible. Like go experience what I've experienced, but don't be a dipshit.
Right.
Like,
right.
That's what it's down to.
I mean, listen, you'll never find probably many more people more anti-government, anti-regulation, anti-interventionist than me. But
taxation is theft, my friend.
Pretty much, exactly. Taxation is theft. Thank you. But like, my libertarian side is always at odds with like, case in point, like you're talking about, Tyler. Well, this is why we have to have regulations. This is why we have to have a permitting process. And it's just like, it's counterproductive, but then you have to realize that, I don't want to paint everyone with the same brush, but,
right.
You realize that a large swath of people are, petulant children and they can't be trusted to anything.
Yeah. And
it's just entitlement. It just comes down to entitlement. It's just
right.
people thinking that they have the right to do whatever it is they want to do.
Yep.
I'm not saying I'm a sheep, but I really do I just follow societal trends, man. If there's rules in place, I just follow the rules and then I don't have to worry about that stuff. If I go to the mountains, I clean it all up.
Well, yeah, if you worry about yourself, if you take self-ownership, self-responsibility, and you take on the role of being a steward and trying to put the best foot forward and making sure whatever you leave behind is better for the next person, if everybody could do that, like, I mean, I'm not a hippie, but like the world would be a so much better place if everybody could just look beyond their own personal point of view.
it's true, and I 1000% agree with that. Because I mean, I have some hippie tendencies, but it legitimately
Don't
would
we
be.
all?
Oh, for sure. I mean,
Yeah, I walk
feel
around
like
camp naked all the time.
Oh,
Yeah, no
dude,
kidding.
damn right.
Twigging
It's
berries, swinging in the wind.
I don't know if it swings, just pokes out.
no, it just kind of exists, but whatever.
Stubbed.
But the
Oh
the
God, Kaylee's
thing,
probably throwing up in her mouth right now.
everybody who listens to this just threw up in their mouth. Sorry, Spotify. So the thing is, I have been in the hot springs up by Mammoth and Crowley Lake and that whole area, and met people from Orange County who had never done any of this before, and just get to talking to them. And I remember this one time I mentioned BLM land for some odd reason, and they look at me and their face kind of goes dark. They're like,
Black
"What?"
Lives Matter.
Yeah, like, what's BLM land? And I'm like, Bureau of Land? Oh, fuck.
Black Lives Matters land.
Yes. And I told him, I'm like, it's Bureau of Land Management, basically. And the way I explain BLM land to SoCalers is, so when you drive to Vegas, the nothing is BLM land. The everything else is BLM land. And
Right.
they're like, oh, okay, that's super interesting. And they were actually genuinely receptive to it.
Right.
And it was a good,
Yep.
wholesome, healthy interaction. So it just goes to show that it's going to have to come down to some form of education, but it's up to the general public to even listen to it.
Right.
Because working in state parks, it's like I talk to people all day long. You can put as many signs up as you want. They don't give a damn if they don't want to give a damn.
No, they don't. So, Tyler, shifting gears.
Yo.
So you're doing the brewery. You're
Yes.
doing the skate park thing.
Mhm.
Obviously, have Toyota will travel. Where is what do you have coming down the pike, so to speak, as far as trips? Anything interesting coming?
So, actually, in just a week or so, I'm going to descend on La Sierra, which is a branch of Descend on Bend, which is a big van festival that originated in Bend, Oregon. And they decided to throw a second one in the La Sierra. The Northern Sierra has kind of been known as the La Sierra. What's that?
It's in Oregon?
So, yeah, it started in Oregon, but now it's coming down to the Northern Sierra, which is known as the Lost Sierra. So I'm going to that festival, and then the week after that, I'm actually kind of up in the air as to where I'm going. But it's my birthday weekend on Memorial Day weekend. So I'm debating on whether to go north or south. I mean, living here in Truckee, Tahoe area, it lends itself to I can go to an unbelievable
that's true
spot within an hour from my house. So I'm kind of up in the air as to where I want to go that weekend. I'm kind of debating going down to the Eastern Sierra or north of here up towards the Lassen area. I don't know. I haven't decided yet, and that's the beauty of it.
You going to PNW Expo?
Nevada?
What about Expo?
You going to PNW Expo?
I would freaking love to. What are the dates again?
July, the first
July
week of July or the second week of July.
Okay. I mean, shoot, I would genuinely love to, because that is going to be closer than going to Expo West for me. But obviously, I'm not going to Expo West anyway because I'm going to Descend. But
yeah, just saying, the more people go, the more he's going to get Mike there.
I'm not going.
What?
I'm not going.
You're so wishy-washy. Last week you were thinking about it.
No, if anything, I mean, we'll take this discussion off air. But at the same time, if I was going to do anything, I know West is in a couple weeks, but I just got invited up to Crowley and June Lake to do a bunch of fishing, but unfortunately work got in the way. I got zero notice for that trip, but
It's like the same story every week. It's like, oh yeah, I was gonna go do this and I was gonna go do that, and
You try running a shop. I guess you kind of do, don't you?
I don't run a shop, no, but being a service.
there you
Oh,
go.
PNW July 8th through 10th. Look at
8th through 10th.
Kaylee on the ball.
I mean,
It seems doable for you.
For me or
Yeah.
for him?
For him.
Yeah.
You
not
can
for
do
me.
whatever you want, Mike. You have money in the bank. You got a truck. You can do whatever. You just choose to be a mangina. That's the life choice you made.
I am 26-year-old and still broke.
Make hay while the sun shines, my friend. Trust me, you'll be old like me and have responsibilities at
Mike's
some point.
old wisdom.
You're
Guy acts
older
like
than me.
I know. That's
fucker.
why I'm laughing that you're even saying it. Like,
My Toyota's going to be in the Alpha equipped booth. Do you want to stay at my hotel? That's you.
Damn.
Yeah.
Those are some shots fired.
Yeah.
Right there.
yeah,
What was it? They won't let you sleep in the square footage if you can't set up a tent.
you can't set up outside of it, right?
Yeah, but it's
So I have tickets to go camp. I could go camp in the wherever they're letting everybody camp. But then
fuck that. It's going to be
the
100
fridge,
degrees.
well, that and the fridge and all the food and everything's going to be inside the cruiser. You know what I mean? Like I won't be able to take. You camp with your vehicle. I don't
Yeah.
want to camp half a mile
Away
from
from
my vehicle.
Amelia was in the Keeper Products booth, Expo West 2019, and I just slept in my camper and cooked breakfast on the tailgate with spectators walking
Yes.
around.
So
Apparently they won't let you do that anymore.
No, they will let you do that. But the thing is, I can't sleep with me and the kids because both the kids are coming with me.
Gotcha.
All three of us can't sleep in the back of the cruiser.
If you had a rooftop tent, you
No.
would be good.
Yeah. No.
You could
Yeah,
be a
but rooftop
tent.
tents are stupid.
Yeah.
Sorry, did I
Ding,
say
ding,
that?
ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
I'm
Listen,
never
I'm
going to
a-
get Nick from Rome Adventure Company on this podcast at this point. It's not gonna happen. Maybe
well,
he'll
he
be
could-
like all the rest of our guests and just not listen to the past episodes.
Yeah. Or he could just tell us all the reasons why people should have one.
Yeah, it's true, huh? I should hit him up.
Okay, I think
But-
Kaylee's a fan of the rooftop tents.
Yeah.
So, that's a rough.
I can
sorry,
see
I
the
do not
note.
have my
Yes, I
glasses
can
on
already
because
do
of the
that.
glare.
Yeah,
I
I
can't
can do
read
that.
any of that.
Yeah.
So the only reason why I'm against them truly is just I do like to drink at camp, and my fat ass trying to climb on top of my truck at 10 o'clock at night or come down to use the bathroom.
After half a bottle of
Yeah.
Jameson.
Yeah, all 300 pounds just tumbling off. And can you imagine the kids having to wake up and peel me off the ground? Like
They'll
that ain't
just
gonna
leave you down there till morning, cover you in honey for the bears.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like-
the thing is, like, legitimately, the product is not the issue. The rooftop tent is not the issue. Honestly, rooftop tents are badass. Like that's
They
super.
are.
It's a super cool thing. It's
Concept.
just what they represent, almost, if you will. Like,
Right.
so do you guys watch?
You know how many hotel rooms I can buy for a $5,000 James Baroud tent?
Oh, dude. Oh yeah, you want to know how many
That's
like
that's almost a Willie's toe behind Wheeler that I
Yep.
can just take and beat up on
Yep.
trail.
You know how many free fiberglass camper shells you could buy for that money?
Right. Oh, you can't get rid of those things. People beg you to take
Oh,
them
yeah.
off your hands.
Those
It's
are
like- it's
literally
like a trap.
houses.
Yeah, it's like a trashed boat. You can't get rid of them.
Yeah,
Just give them
no,
away.
but seriously, if that fiberglass camper shell don't leak, that's a house.
There
Yeah.
you go. If it's got a
I
toilet,
mean-
it's definitely a house.
Oh, dude, that's what a shovel's for.
There you go.
Yeah, Mike.
Cat hole.
So 4x Overland, I think is his name. He's, I believe, either from South Africa and overlands Australia a lot, or from Australia and overlands South Africa a lot. I'm not
Interesting.
sure. But
Where things kill you.
where things legitimately kill you, and where you legitimately need extra fuel on board, and where you legitimately need to be prepared for these things.
And
So
a sat phone. and an Amex and a Rolex to trade for medical care.
Right. Exactly. And the thing is, he converts like what is it? 70 series Land Cruisers, like the Troopies, the Droop Carrier, 70 series Land Cruisers. He converts them to have, the pop-up tent and the whole thing, and is
the high roof.
Yeah,
They
but
like
I mean, it pops up like a clamshell rooftop tent would, and it's legitimately extravagant, but almost because it has to be.
Right. I think they designed those so you can set up without getting outside the truck.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing. So rooftop tents here in America are super cool and a rad accessory. Do you need them? Absolutely fucking not. Like, Death Valley, you can get very remote to the point where if something goes wrong, you will die. For sure. 100%. But Death Valley doesn't even hold a candle to say the Canning stock route across Australia.
No. Oh God, no.
Like, there's a difference between where overlanding came from and where overlanding is here in America. I don't overland. I will never say that I overland because I don't.
Have you ever watched any of the documentaries on the Darien Gap?
I have not. No.
Oh God, you got to watch that. So GM in the 1960s. So for those that don't know, the Darien Gap is that small strip of land that connects Central America to South America, which is essentially forest and swamp and impassable. And GM sent a whole entire team to try and get through it with a bunch of Corvairs in the 1960s. They failed. One of the cars is still there. The British Special Forces and the British government sent down a whole bunch of Land Rovers and helicopters to drop them whatever they were due, hacking through 2 miles of jungle a day. They also failed. Jeep, I think in the 80s or 70s, sent down CJ7s or CJ5s to send Jeeps all the way through the Darien Gap. And I think they also failed. So if you ever, the stuff that they would do, like people would get sick, like deathly ill, have to be airlifted out, hack themselves accidentally in the leg with a machete. Like, it's something to look at. So, like, to your point, yeah, I can go to Big Bear and I don't really need 3 roto packs full of fuel to go through Big
Yes,
Bear.
you do.
Yes, I do.
Yeah,
like,
you do.
you look at the.
If you're driving a square body Suburban, you do.
Yeah, right. Like, if you look at some of the stuff, like, crossing Africa through the Sahara, the Paris Dakar Rally, you start looking at the things that people do and how far they push themselves and their equipment. And then you're like looking at yourself with your Forerunner, with your sat phone, titanium silverware, lithium ion battery pack, and solar panel to go 20 miles off the highway in the Mojave. It's kind of like,
right? To go to the pinnacles.
Bro, that road's so washboarded. You need those Fox 2.0 reservoirs. You need it.
Absolutely.
You need those big old bypasses. So funny story,
great, but I mean,
you're gonna love this. Funny story.
To finish what you were saying, that's why other continents get the more built, still have straight axle.
Mm-hmm.
That's why everybody says, well, why don't they bring these to the States?
We don't need them.
It's exactly what they said. The reason why, it was Nissan, right? It was Nissan saying that
Toyota with the Land Cruiser, where it's IFS here and it's still solid axle in Australia.
And they were like, we'll never bring them to the US because they don't need them.
Yeah.
I mean, Nissan with the Patrol.
That's what I was going to say, was the Patrol, because the Patrols are still straight axle. And then we have.
I believe so, yeah.
Okay. So I know there's somebody listening, and I know what he's going to say. Okay, they're not, right? It's independent front and rear suspension now. But they carried
the Defender. The Defender's independent front suspension and independent rear suspension now.
One? Yeah, now, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so now
Yep.
they're switching over, but I'm just saying they held on to these more stout,
Oh, yeah.
bigger models way
Right.
longer because
And I mean, you have
it-
to look here. Like, we do have Ford Super Duties that are brand new, and Dodge, Cummins or whatever you want to label. I mean,
2500s, yeah.
yeah, no, I freaking dude. A Dodge Cummins is kind of the dream rig, like a 2500 with the Cummins. But before they took the manual away, I would want a manual.
Right.
But regardless, so the bigger trucks here still do have solid axles and still, are, I don't even know what you would call it, but
They'll put up with whatever you can throw at them.
right,
The
right.
funny thing is like when you were talking about washboard roads, I went to KC summer camp, which was way back in the hills outside of Williams, Arizona.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was out by Flagstaff ish.
No, it's outside of Williams, kind of halfway, I think, between.
Okay, yeah.
So there was a bunch of washboard roads. It was like 8 miles of washboard roads to get back to the campsite at the lake. And Billy, you've seen my Jeep, right? Before I had the 4.2 bypasses, I had Fox 2.5s with DSC, and I got stuck behind every fucking Toyota with a rooftop tent doing 15 miles an hour down a washboard road when all I wanted to do was 60. And
there are
sure
so
enough,
many people I want to call out right now.
you can or cannot to your own detriment, but
I won't. I won't.
But I mean, here I have a solid axle Jeep, but it has a proper suspension underneath it and a proper set of shocks. But the IFS, which is supposed to be the greatest thing for, moderately rough roads, like I'm stuck behind all of them and I can't open the tap on the Jeep.
well, when they're running at 6,800 pounds, it's a tall order.
On their 2.0 Icon shocks.
Yeah.
Yeah. To, carry their 4 Scottles.
Right.
Well, everyone's got to eat.
Everybody's got to eat. You got to have a scuttle for the meat, a scuttle for the potatoes, a scuttle for the eggs. You have to keep it all separate. It's kosher that way.
Yeah. No, absolutely, because there are a lot of vegetarians on that trip.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, jeez.
White Claws and veggie burritos. Let's go.
Damn right. LaCroix until 5 p.m. Then it switches to White Claws.
Wow.
Ain't that the truth? I had somebody gave me a White Claw and it literally tasted like someone took, like you go to a soda machine at a restaurant and it runs out of the syrup and you just get a carbonated water. It tasted like that, and someone like dripped a lemon over the top of it. I was like, oh my God.
Listen, there's
is
only
this
one
shit?
time that I have Claw, and it's this place downtown here takes a massive 32-ounce beer stein and they fill it up with champagne and then grapefruit and mango, and then they pour a Claw right on the top.
Oh,
It
what
is-
the fuck?
Damn.
Dude, it's so good. It's like such a summer drink, and it gets you pretty boozy pretty quick.
Dude, that's
Really?
rad.
Yeah, it's
That's
so
actually
good.
super cool.
Yeah,
Interesting.
but yeah, they kind of top it off with a Claw to give it a little bit of context between the champagne. It's so
Just for
good.
That's for the white girls.
Yeah, well, whatever. I get white girl wasted on the weekend. What?
Oh, dude, I am the basicest of white bitches. Are you kidding? Like, that's
My
me.
tits are real. That's the
There
only
you
difference.
Yeah, dude, these are made out of pizza and beer.
Have you guys done the Cutwater margaritas and stuff
Yeah.
yet?
I had the Cutwater. That's how my day started yesterday. That's why today's so rough. I had the tequila, the Cutwaters.
The lime,
I
lime
haven't yet.
margarita.
I didn't
Oh,
have the
those things-
margarita. I had the Palomar
Oh,
tequila.
the Paloma.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So the Mai Tai and the lime margaritas are really good, and they will mess you up. There's like 2 shots in every single can.
Dude, I took
So-
golfing last week. I took a 4-pack of the spicy Bloody Marys of the Cutwaters. They're fantastic.
They have Bloody Marys.
Spicy Bloody
Oh,
Marys. So
damn,
good.
dude. I know what I got to go track down.
Hmm.
I haven't seen those. The Mai
Yeah.
Tai is good, and the lime margarita is good. Not so sure
So-
on the Moscow Mules.
Yeah,
They're
I
a
haven't
little
tried
sweet.
that yet.
They're sweet. The Cutwater Moscows are sweet.
I got to
But
look for that Bloody Mary though. Oh man,
the Bloody
that's-
Mary's where it's at.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Have you
Man,
guys
just gave me
heard
an
of ranch water?
Uh-uh.
So it's a new seltzer that just came out. It's out of West Texas, and it's called Ranch Water, and it is actually genuinely enjoyable. It's wild. I
So
don't
it's like a
feel.
Texas White Claw.
Yeah, yes, exactly. It's like a White Claw with some kerosene poured on it. It's
Interesting.
it's actually pretty freaking good.
You know,
I
normally
enjoy it.
I would just clown you right now, but since you do work at a brewery and you're a totally cool guy, I may actually have to try that one. So
Legitimately,
ranch hand, huh? Ranch
I
water,
won't lie. What's that?
ranch water.
Ranch
That's what
water.
it's called. Okay.
Yep. And my good buddy, good old boy, Brian. Shout out to Bri. He lives in Reno, and he's a diesel mechanic, like the goodest of the old boys. He introduced me to ranch water.
Hell, that ain't no seltzer water, boy. You got to try this.
No, man,
Right?
he straight up does Ford 6.0s all day long. He bulletproofs the 6.0s and 6.4s all day long and hands me a seltzer. So you know what? I'll take it.
All
That's
right.
it.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. There you go. So there you go.
For sure.
I'll try that.
Well, Tyler, I got to tell you, man, I'm super glad that you were able to jump on with us tonight.
Yeah,
Oh, for
man.
sure.
It's been a lot of fun. We try to mix it up with who we have, and sometimes we just we got to go back to the roots and get the people on, so the people, can be represented. Today they were represented well.
Yeah, they were.
Hell yeah.
So-
Thanks, man.
So
It's a good
So
time.
before we end, I don't know if we're ending soon. Oh, Lord, that went long.
yeah,
So
Right.
before
That's
we
all right.
end,
How many beers do you got left on your
oh,
table?
dude,
right
I
now?
actually have quite a few left.
Man,
well, he came
So-
prepared, so
we'll be right over.
Oh, for sure. But basically, so long story short, I may be driving out to North Carolina before this next winter in my 1987 Nissan Pathfinder.
Nice,
living life on the edge.
nice.
Oh, for sure. Because my girlfriend who built the tiny house that we live in and the whole thing may be taking a job over on the East Coast. And
Oof.
I'm not ready to leave the Sierras yet. Like, this is my place, but I will go spend winter there.
There you
So
go.
the plan is to put Amelia in storage and build the Pathfinder to drive from Reno to Asheville, North Carolina. And that's going to be a party. So
Was that thing built in Smyrna in Tennessee?
the Pathfinder?
Yeah,
I don't know.
because I
What
know
is
they
it?
built.
What is it with these questions, Mike?
Oh
No,
God.
that's actually
If
a
you're
really
driving
good
out-
question.
Yeah, if he's driving out to North Carolina, if it was built in Tennessee, might as well just stop by the plant
Yeah.
back where it's
That would
home was.
honestly be really cool.
Yeah,
That would be super cool.
that sounds cool. That sounds like it'll be a good trip. So
There you go.
yeah,
really
we
put it down.
definitely
Follow
gotta
the
get
epic
together.
journey.
We definitely should get together and do some camping before you go.
Oh,
You're
most. I mean,
definitely one of the ones to hang with. So
and I'm going to be doing the dual citizenship thing. Winter's there, summer's here. But out there it'll be in a tiny house, and out here it's going to be in my '85 Toyota camper. So
perfect.
There we go.
Before we go, Tyler,
Yes.
is there anything you want to promote? Anyone you want to promote? Anybody you want to slam and drag through the dirt?
Well, the Good Wolf Brewing here in Truckee, California, for letting me do this here, giving me the best job I've ever had in my life. Easy Supplies. We did
There
a
you go.
collaboration. We made some t-shirts together. So hit up EEZY, Easy Supplies. They're amazing. Loveland's Automotive for giving me new life to my 85 Toyota that I know we didn't really get into all the breakdowns that I had, but they put a new motor in Amelia for me. Past that, thanks, Mom. And yeah.
Right on. That's
Attaboy.
it.
All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate all of you. Check us out on YouTube, the Dirt to Whiskey podcast on YouTube. Billy got that set up for us. Seems like a lot of you like looking at our ugly ass faces, but to each their own.
Yeah, shit happens.
Shit does happen. We should be up on Apple shortly. Tyler, your Instagram is a Toyota called Amelia, just as it sounds, on Instagram. I've looked over your Instagram page. Definitely some pretty cool stuff there. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for drinking with us. Thanks for the stories. Billy, always good to see you.
Yes,
I do
sir.
miss having you in studio. It's definitely lonely not having you here. But, hopefully maybe you'll fly down or I'll fly up there. I'm not going to drive, but
Yeah, you're gonna fly up here.
I'll probably fly up there.
Fair. Going down
And
there.
I'm literally right in the middle. So,
Yeah,
I mean,
you can
I'll
be the
stop and pick
manwich.
you up on the way. There you go.
Yeah.
We'll go the Toyota to the Pacific Northwest. I got a Cummins Ram. We'll do it. All right,
Yeah.
everybody. Dirt to Whiskey. Thank you all, and we'll see you on the next one. I'm out.
all right.